Hi team, it's me Natalie, and I'm here to talk to you about what Booktube made me do this week. I started this series ages ago and haven't uploaded one of these videos for ages because quite frankly, they take a long time to do and I'm a lazy reading vlogger kind of booktuber. But I've decided to put in a bit of effort because there were a lot of things that caught my eye this week. I watch a lot of Booktube during the week and there are so many things that booktubers make me do because of their fantastic recommendations. But for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to focus on 10 videos that I watched and all of the things that came out of me watching those videos. I'll just quickly mention all of the 10 videos now and I will have all of the links to the videos in the description box below so you can check out these really cool videos that I loved watching. The first was Sarah from Hardcover Hearts with her week of reading. Then we had 3 Friday reads, one from Simon at Savidge Reads, one from Jaclyn at 6 Minutes for Me, and one from Louise at Big Head Bookworm. Then Kath at Strange the Reader had a currently reading video. And Baillie-Karas had her May wrap up. Jasmine at Jasmine Reads had her classics haul. Mercedes at Mercy Bookish Musings, had her June plans. Katie at Books and Things had her favourite books since being on YouTube, which is a really great video. There's some good books in that one. And lastly, Charles Heathcoate had his wool gathering. I think we're up to 39. If you've never seen a wool gathering, it's a lot of fun. It's just sort of Charlie complaining about the dual carriageway while he's waiting to go to work. But there's lots of little gems that come up during all of his rants. Anyway, those are the 10 videos that inspired me and made me do stuff. What booktubers always make me do is put more books on my Goodreads want to read shelf, which is ever expanding. And so I'm just going to run through some of the books that I clicked want to read in Goodreads because of these booktubers' recommendations. The book I'm most excited about was recommended by Jaclyn from 6 Minutes for Me. It's called Ruby Moonlight and it's by Baillie-Karas. She's an Australian Indigenous author and quite frankly, the more I can get my hands on Australian Indigenous voices in books, the more excited I am. And Jaclyn always has great recommendations. So I really can't wait to pick this book up and start diving into this new author. The book that relates to what I've been reading at the moment the most was recommended by Sarah at Hardcover Hearts. It's called La Bella Lingua by Diane Hales, and it's about immersing yourself in Italian language and living in Italy and being a part of the culture. And I just finished In Other Words by Jhumpa Lahiri, which was all about Jhumpa Lahiri's discovery of the Italian language and her love for it. So when I commented on Sarah's video, she had read both of them and said that they were a good pairing. So I need to get onto that while this Italian subject is still fresh in my mind. Now in that video of Sarah's, there were 4 other books, I think, that she recommended that I must read. The first one is called The Magpie Murders by Anthony Horwitz, and Sarah described this as like a Russian doll type of mystery with heaps of different layers, and I really liked that description, so that intrigued me. She also recommended The Binding by Bridget Collins, which is about book binding and a mystery involved. I mean, what could go wrong with that kind of story? It sounds awesome. Another one was On Earth, We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong, and this in the tagline had a letter from a son to a mother, and I am the mum of 3 sons, so my little ears pricked up and I would be really interested in reading this book. And then we have a book of essays, which I just don't do. This is called The Book of Delights by Ross Gay. And what interested me was the tagline again. It says, it's a book about our connection to the world, to each other, and the rewards that come from a life closely observed. And one of my constant battles is to slow down and to teach my children to take everything in. And I really think that I could connect with some of the writing in here. So a book of essays, why not give it a go? The next book that I put on my Goodreads Want to Read shelf was the one that's intrigued me but is most out of my comfort zone. And it was a recommendation by Baillie-Karas. It's called At Dusk by Hwang Suk Yang, and it's about Korean architecture. I know. It's told from the point of view of a Korean architect who talks about the rapid urbanization, I think, of the land, and also the knocking down of old buildings to build new, and what that really meant. So that sounded kind of intriguing to me. Who would have thought Korean architecture could make me hit the want to read button, but it did. The book that most helps me fulfill all of the challenges I've got going on is Now We Shall Be Entirely Free by Andrew Miller. Simon from Savidge Reads recommended this, and as soon as he said the words set in the Napoleonic War era, I was like, what? I think that that's a challenge on the Reading Through the Ages challenge that I'm doing, and I'm so behind on those prompts. So yeah, I stuck it on there as an option for me when I finally start to focus on that challenge. So thanks, Simon, for the hot tip. Then there are two books that I put on my want to read shelf purely because they've got beautiful covers, because I'm that shallow. The first one is Rutting Season by Madeline Smith. I mean, look at that cover. You can't go wrong. It's beautiful. I think it's even short stories, and I don't do short stories, but that's how much I loved that cover. And the next one was The Lake by Banana Yoshimoto, and Baillie-Karas recommended this. And again, the cover, gorgeous. So often when I'm watching Booktube videos, there's links between two videos, and those make me get all tingly, and I like having those links there because it feels like we're all connected. And Baillie-Karas recommended that Banana Yoshimoto book, and then I watched Katie's from Books and Things, her favourite books video, and she also recommended that book by Banana Yoshimoto, but also Kitchen by the same author. So I put that on my Goodreads Want to Read shelf too. And then you can't watch a favourite books ever kind of Booktube video and not put more on the Want to Read shelf. So the other books that came from Katie's recommendations are The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton. It's set in 1686 Amsterdam. I mean, what more do I need to say? Sounds amazing. The Watchmaker of Filigree Street by Natasha Pulley. Little mystery, cozy mystery situation. Why not? And the last one is Mrs. Gaskell and Me by Nell Stevens. This sounded interesting. So it's like the parallel connection of lives in two parallel time frames. So I thought that sounded really fun. And then because you also can't watch a Books and Things Booktube video without getting classics recommendations. So the 4 classics I picked up from that video that interested me were The Odd Woman by George Gissing, Olive by Dina Maria Morlick-Craik. Did I get that right? And The Half Sisters by Geraldine Dewsbury. And then there was also Morris by E.M. Forster. And then there was another little link to Jasmine at Jasmine Reads Her Classics Haul, where she talks about E.M. Forster being one of her very favourite authors. And I've never read any of E.M. Forster's. So I went and also put on A Room with a View and Howard's End on my Want to Read shelf as well. There was also another classics recommendation by Kath at Strange the Reader, and that was The Way Things Are by E.M. Delafield. I think this is about a shitty marriage and a wife who's not very happy. So yeah, that's always a bit fun to read. So there are all the new books I put on my Want to Read shelf, and then I was reminded of a few that I need to get to that were already on there. Simon at Savidge Reads reminded me of the Jane Harper books. I think it's The Dry and Force of Nature. So I still haven't read any of those, and they're probably one of the most popular Australian books worldwide. So I probably should read them so I can have an opinion, don't you think? Simon also held up another book called Exquisite Cadavers by Mina Kandasamy. Butchered that name, I'm so sorry. She's the author of When I Hit You, which is on my want to read list. But he spoke about this new book of hers that has the actual story, but then it has the author notes in the margin, and I thought that sounded like a really interesting way to read a book. So yeah, that new book went on my want to read shelf, and then I was also reminded of When I Hit You. So 2 little gems there, I hope. And then Kath from Strange the Reader reminded me of a book called Evening Primrose by Kapado Matwa. And this is a South African author, and it's a book about a black South African woman talking about her life. Sounds super interesting, and I don't read nearly enough South African literature, so I need to get to that one. And then Booktube videos always bring up things that I need to investigate. So Sarah at Hardcover Hearts talked about Kate Atkinson. And I've heard lots of people talk about Kate Atkinson. And when she mentioned her name, I was like, right, I really need to either nip this in the bud or move on, because it's Kate Atkinson's always in the back of my mind. So I have read Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. I didn't like it. I gave it 3 stars. I was frustrated with those jumping, moving. Oh, that's the one where she keeps dying and comes back, and that's how the storyline moves forward. I have A God in Ruins, which is the sequel to that. Well, I guess it's a sequel, which I should get to as well. But I went on Goodreads and I looked up Kate Atkinson, and I looked through and thought, what is the most popular, like the highest rated Kate Atkinson book on Goodreads? And that was Behind the Scenes at the Museum. It's about a girl called Ruby who narrates her life from the moment she was conceived, and so her point of view about England in the 20th century. Interesting. So, of course, after that little experiment, my library didn't have it. So then I looked up the next highest rated. Well, actually, this is the most highest rated. It's called When Will There Be Good News? And it's number 3 in the Jackson Brodie series. I happen to have number 1 in the Jackson Brodie series. So this is what I'm going to call Case Histories, I think it's called. So I'm going to read that book, see if I like it. I'm going to read A God in Ruins and see if I like it. And then if I don't, that's it. Kate Atkinson and I are over. You can hold me to that. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Is this worth it? Because do you love Kate Atkinson? Should I start the Jackson Brodie series? Is this something I should do? Let me know. Because I think I need to really nip this in the bud or draw a line in the sand under Kate Atkinson, because she keeps popping up. Then Kath from Strange the Reader talked about the Virago Modern Classics. I think I've heard about them before, but then when I looked them up, all of the books looked really interesting, and not all of them, because there's 600 and something. How many? 687 Virago Modern Classics on the list. So they don't all look super interesting, but the ones I picked out from that list, I really thought I would like to read. So I either read through that list, or I don't know what I'm going to do about that. But I have another sort of thing that I can keep a lookout for Virago Modern Classics when I'm trawling used bookstores and things like that. And then maybe start to, check off some of the ones on the list, because, yeah, I was really connecting with a few of those. And then, of course, I get new ideas, constantly get new ideas from Booktube videos. So here is my list of new ideas I got from all of these videos I watched this week. Mercedes at Mercy's Bookish Musings had her June plan, and she gave me an idea. There's this try a chapter tag that's flying around. She said that the ones that she'd watched lately were specifically about unhauling. So you get a bunch of books together that you don't know if you're going to like, and you try a chapter in each of them, and then you decide from there whether you unhaul them or not. I don't know if I'm into that, but then she also said that maybe you could do that to decide what book to read next. And I thought that was a good idea, because sometimes I pick books just based on the cover of what I'm going to read next, and I get disappointed, and then I'm not into the story because I'm thinking about the other book that I should have chosen. So maybe that might be a nice way to help me out in that situation. Sadie's also talked about her quarterly goals, which were interesting to me. And then I thought maybe I could do seasonal goals or seasonal challenges. And I have a lot of nature books in this space here. And I thought what I might do is organise them into the different seasons so that I'm reading about the season when I'm actually in it, which might make for a more enjoyable experience. So that was a new idea I had. The second new idea was what I saw on Simon from Savidge Read on his video. He had this sort of title thing that popped up and said Savidge Reads and then went away right at the start of his video. By the way, if you haven't watched Simon's Friday Reads video, it's got this hilarious little clip at the start of a few bloopers, which I thought was hilarious. I should maybe put those in. But yeah, I don't know. I decided to try it out. So here's my attempt at a title page. What do you think? You like it? Anyway, it was just a new idea. I thought I'd give it a go. And then Louise at the Big Head Bookworm showed us her cross-stitch bookmarks that she's now got in her Etsy shop. I'll put a photo of them here. They're so cute. And it reminded me of when I used to do cross-stitch, and I used to love it. And I would not have done that for, I don't know, 20, 30 years? I don't know, a really long time. I used to do it when I was a little girl. So I've got plans to head to the craft store and get a cross-stitch pattern and pick that back up again, thanks to the inspiration from Louise's bookmarks. I'd love to do a beautiful, I don't know, botanical little cross-stitch of a beautiful flower or something and put it in a frame. I think that'd be fun. Hang it in my reading room. Anyway, I got inspired by those bookmarks, so thanks, Louise. And then the last new idea I had was from Charles Heathcote in his wool gathering, and he talked about his love of RuPaul's Drag Race. Now, of course, I know about it, and I think I've seen a couple of episodes, but I didn't know how to get them here in Australia. So Charles inspired me to look it up, and I can get them on Stan, and there's a free 30-day trial, and there's about 10 seasons on there. I mean, I think that I will not get anything achieved if I dive into that, but maybe I can watch the latest season and kind of be up to date with everybody else. Oh, I also found Love Island UK, thanks to lots of booktubers' Instagram stories. So I found that, and I'm watching along with that. It's like watching a car crash, but highly addictive. Anyway, so a couple of little trashy TV show tips to end this video today. So that's all of the stuff that I got from only a few booktube videos this week. I love that I can be inspired by people, that I can get recommendations for books, for TV shows, that I can be reminded of childhood loves. I'm just so lucky to be a part of this community, and I'm just celebrating it with these videos. So thank you to all of the booktubers who inspired me this week. This list plus many, many, many more. And I hope that your Goodreads Want to Read shelf grew over the week too with some great recommendations. Anyway, it was nice chatting to you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.